Hello and welcome to the newest episode of the Kentucky Bankers Association's Vendor Viewpoint Podcast. I'm Nina Goddess, Head of Sponsorship Sales and Convention Coordinator here at the KBA. Each episode we sit down and get personal with one of our trusted vendors. In this episode we are featuring a conversation about maintaining profitability and improving operational efficiencies with KBA's Selena Parrish, Director of Membership, Products and Services, Bill Zumvordi, Director of Business Development at Profit Resources, and special guest Tony Parrish, President and CEO of People's Exchange Bank in Winchester, Kentucky. Bill and Tony, we thank you for joining us and we look forward to the conversation. Selena, the mic is all yours.
Welcome to Vendor Viewpoint. I'm Selena Parrish, KBA Director of Membership, Products and Services. We have an excellent program lined up for you. I'm pleased to have with me Bill Zumvordi, Director of Business Development with Profit Resources Incorporated, and also Tony Parrish, President and CEO with People's Exchange Bank in Winchester. Thank you both so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today. PRI has been endorsed by the KBA since 2014, and they have assisted many of our member banks with process and profitability improvements. And Bill, thank you again for being with us today. Give us some background and history on PRI.
Thank you, Selena, and thank you, Nina, as well. PRI was founded by Tim Holt in 1990, and originally our headquarters was based in northern Kentucky where Tim lived. The business was originally built around helping community banks better utilize their data processing systems. Tim saw a huge gap in how banks use their systems compared to what the systems could do if more of the feature functionality was utilized. We still help banks use their DP systems better today. But over the years, PRI expanded our services to include system evaluation and contract negotiation, as well as profit improvement and expense reduction throughout the bank. Then in 1994, PRI also began assisting banks with non-interest income improvement. And in 2012, we began assisting in debit card interchange improvement, which continues to be a big part of our non-interest income work today. Now our team includes more than 25 seasoned bankers who provide process, profit, and efficiency consulting based on their many years of banking and based on the PRI way that we have at our company. The folks on our team have backgrounds in a variety of disciplines: retail, deposit operations, credit lending and loan operations, bank technology, acquisition and systems integration, wealth management, strategic planning, pretty much the full spectrum of community banking. We're so pleased to be an endorsed vendor of the KBA. It's hard to believe it's been 7 years already.
Thank you, Bill. It is great. And I think it's great that Kentucky Bankers is working with a Kentucky homegrown company. I just love it whenever we can endorse a company that's actually been built here in the state of Kentucky.
Our headquarters actually is now in Monroe, Georgia, which is kind of suburban Atlanta. And it only moved because Tim Holt's daughter, Mikkel Brady, in addition to doing some consulting, runs the retail, or not the retail, but the administrative functions of PRI. And she moved with her husband to that area, and the headquarters went with her. But Kentucky is still a huge focus for us. In most years, it's our biggest market. Actually, in just the last 2 years during the pandemic, we began working with another 12 KBA members for the first time, completing or working towards completion on 24 projects to either boost income, control expense, improve processes and efficiency, or even develop effective strategic plans. So even during the pandemic, we've been very active working with your membership.
PRI definitely provides a lot of support to banks. And Tony, when People's Exchange Bank partnered with PRI, what was the bank's strategy and how has PRI helped the bank accomplish all of your goals?
Selena, our chairman of the board saw a PRI talk at the KBA conference one year, came back. We were in the midst of the CEO was retiring. I was getting ready to take his place. So we had some leadership changes coming up. So he wanted to bring PRI in to do a profit enhancement engagement for us. They did that in 2017. It went great. They were extremely professional, very knowledgeable, worked really well with our staff. We were very pleased with that. We implemented most of their recommendations. Some of them we felt like we couldn't implement because of the current competition we had. PRI lets their clients choose what they want to do and not want to do. So they're very easy to work with. We went from that in 2017. We had a core conversion in 2019, converted our debit cards to a new provider. And at that point, PRI came back in and did a debit card fee income analysis for us, switched us over from Visa to MasterCard, helped us a lot with those contracts, made it very profitable for us to get those set up. And we were very pleased with that interaction as well.
That's excellent, because a lot of times when I'm out visiting with KBA members, we always seem to get in a conversation about non-interest income. And that touches on what Tony just said. And Bill, how are you guys helping, like, with banks who need more non-interest income?
Well, it's certainly something that every bank's looking at these days. Is, you know, we continue to be faced with or interest margin pressure, and on the non-interest income side, there's been a continued decrease in overdraft income, and we still look at overdraft as part of our process of looking at the bank's complete deposit product suite. But these days, any tweaks to the overdraft program, it has to be conservative. Certainly, it has to be compliant. But we still see some opportunities there. There's a number of bank customers that need an overdraft program. But more than overdraft, it's the things that Tony just touched on with interchange income. That continues to be a big opportunity. It's a way to replace some of the lost income from overdraft. And so, as Tony mentioned, we were able to obtain for them and for many other banks in Kentucky incentives from either MasterCard or Visa, and improve the processing of debit card transactions, whether they are through EFT or kind of an overlooked area for some banks is PIN processing. There are still a number of independent PIN processors, and we conduct evaluations and model the differences that different PIN processors can provide to banks. And we're able to obtain some very nice financial terms from these PIN processors. And as Tony said, it's up to the bank to select the one that fits them best. But we model all the differences in interchange income to help KBA members make a good decision.
That's
the
wonderful.
other thing that we did with People's Exchange was just kind of offer some tweaks to their deposit product suite to enable them to serve customers better, maybe change some of the features of their checking accounts, and ultimately improve the profitability of those accounts for the bank.
Sounds like a wish list for every bank I've talked to. So that's wonderful. And Tony, I know in the industry, we've seen so much happen since March of 2020. And for both of you, Tony and Bill, it's like, how has COVID affected our bank customers, and with the use of technology and then PRI, how are you all coming to the table for the banks to help banks respond to all the change?
Okay, well, I'll go first on that, Selena. I think closed lobbies and customer concerns about touching cash and concerns about face-to-face interaction really accelerated the continuing trend of reduced branch traffic and reduced in-branch account openings and transactions. In response, mobile and online product usage has just exploded. We continue to assist KBA members in evaluating their DP systems and how they can improve their customer service and their customers' experience. Often this includes enabling bank customers to open deposit and all types of loan accounts online. The evaluations include core providers, and increasingly they include, and we dislike the word fintech, but they increasingly include what some call fintech. They're really other non-core providers for some of the important customer-facing ancillary products like digital account opening, mobile, online, etc. The word fintech connotates new startup companies, but many of the non-core options have been around for a while now, and they have proven track records. So again, we assist in evaluations and working with banks to develop a digital roadmap, because the evaluation and adoption of new technology will be a constant ongoing process.
Certainly. And Tony, on your side, seeing it there, right there at the bank, how are customers adjusting to all the changes that have come about?
Like all other banks, we've seen a tremendous amount of deposit growth over the last couple of years, but teller transactions, teller volume has dropped dramatically. We've got some branches that are down as much as 25% in teller transactions, while all of our online products are just blowing up with volume. We do a fair amount of secondary market lending for a bank our size, and we've seen a huge switch to online applications with that, which has been nice. The last couple of years, there's been a lot of volume with rates down, a lot of refis going on. So that's been a big help for us. We're glad to see customers taking that route, and it's worked very smoothly for us so far.
That's great. And I know it's a busy time of year for all the banks to be focused on strategic planning and implementation. And Bill, have you been busy doing a lot of strategic planning sessions with banks, or how are you all working with banks on that side?
Well, you're right. It is kind of the time of the year where banks are either planning for it or they've already gone through the strategic planning process. And we do assist banks with that. Tony can kind of talk about what we did with People's Exchange, but just generally, we have maybe a more robust approach to strategic planning than some outside facilitators. We take a 2-day approach where one day we work with the bank's board to kind of set the strategic direction for the bank. And we do a lot of things before we even get to that discussion to kind of make sure that the board is aware of current trends in community banking and just give them some things to think about before we talk with them. But on day one of these sessions, we're focused on, what is the plan for the bank? Where are we going in the next 3, 5, 7 years? Ultimately, we're going to produce a 3-year plan, but we need to know, longer term, what direction are we going? And then day 2 of these sessions, we really work with management, and it's a much more detailed, kind of tactic development kind of approach. Because ultimately we want the banks that we work with want a plan that's not going to sit on the shelf. It's really something that they're going to use to steer the direction of the bank over the next 3 years or so.
Definitely.
Yeah, our last strategic plan was facilitated by PRI. Michaela, that Bill mentioned earlier, was the lead consultant on that. They spent a full day with the board and then a full day with management. We went off site to do that. Of course, they're bankers, so they knew what they were talking about. They'd been in a lot of banks, and so that was very helpful to us. We were all very pleased with the results of that strategic planning.
Great. And Bill, what would you think, like right now in this time of year, what would the number one thing be that the banks are reaching out to PRI for?
Yeah. Banks have had a couple
specific?
I think, for most banks, they had a couple of pretty good years. I mean, KBA members really stepped up to the plate during the pandemic. Many of the banks deployed some or most of their workforce remotely for the first time, and certainly provided a lot of PPP loans to new and existing customers. They had an influx of stimulus-related deposits. They continued to finance and refinance mortgages. So 2020 and 2021 were pretty good years for most banks despite the pandemic. But what we hear is banks are, again, thinking about strategic planning in the future. They look in the crystal ball, and 2022 and 2023, they're seeing, for the most part, continuing margin pressure, increasing technology costs, and difficulty attracting and retaining talent. The conversations we have with KBA members, they're wanting to focus on improving non-interest income, enhancing their customer experience with new technology, controlling those technology expenses, and being more productive without increasing staff, as it continues to be a struggle to attract and retain employees, particularly on the front line. The other thing that banks will mention is they need to manage the board and shareholder expectations regarding the next couple of potentially more challenging years. So, certainly improving efficiency and being more productive with the same number of employees, those are things that are right in our wheelhouse that we've been working with banks for over 30 years. So we've certainly been having a lot of conversations, and as I mentioned earlier, doing a lot of work with KBA members right now.
Yes, it sounds like you've been busy, and it sounds like we all need to find that crystal ball that's going to tell us what's going to happen in 22 and 23, because with all the work that's been done in the past couple of years, it's going to probably look a lot different in the next few years. Tony, do you all have any big projects on the schedule for next year?
Well, we've all kind of lived off the PPP fee income the last couple of years. Loan demand's been down, so we're pushing for loans like everybody else, hoping the economy opens up a little more and we get some things going. We're looking at ITMs,
Okay.
And going with the ITMs. Part of that's driven by the difficulty in hiring those frontline folks. So we're well on our way to investigating those, and we'll make a decision soon as to which way we go. That's probably the biggest one right now. We're also looking at online account opening. We've not had that. We've got online loan applications, but we're also looking at online account opening as well.
Yeah. Sounds like you're going to have a busy year coming up in adding all your new solutions there in your markets. And Bill, what is the best way for our members to get in contact with you?
Well, my direct line is 513-834-8832. My email address is W as in William, and then my last name, Zumvorde, ZUMVORDE, @profitresources.com. And certainly there's a lot more information on our firm and some of the valuable communications that we send out on a variety of issues and initiatives. All of that can be found at our website, which again is profitresources.com.
Wonderful. And of course, all of our members are welcome to reach out to the KBA at any time, and I'd be glad to provide Bill's contact information. And of course, Tony is a great reference for the company, and we're here to help any way we can. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Tony. I think it's been a productive use of our time today to just, for me especially, just to learn more about all the work that PRI is doing with KBA members and how People's Exchange Bank's successful results have come about with all the work that PRI has done there for you, Tony. And thank you both. And it's been great to spend time with you today. Thank you, audience, for tuning in to Vendor Viewpoint. And just a quick shout out to Josh Fisher, our KBA Director of Communications, for putting this all together and recording today. Thank you for making it possible, Josh. And I'm going to say this podcast is a wrap. Anything else, Bill? Anything else, Tony?
Thank you for
Well,
having me.
I'd like to give a shout out to the bank. They did an excellent job with the recommendations that we developed in a collaborative manner with their team, but they have done a super job on the implementation. And you can just look at the bank's numbers since June of 2017 to see the excellent work that they have done. So there's my shout out.
Congratulations.
Charlie, Claude, and the rest of the team at People's Exchange.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you
Definitely a great story. Thank you. And I appreciate both of you being here to tell your story so that other banks in Kentucky can know what PRI can do for them as well. Thank you both. Thank you, Josh. Have a great day, everyone.